Hello and welcome to another episode of Salary Voodoo, found right here on the MMA Engine channel. We are back for another week to give you a different type of breakdown and help you construct those DraftKings lineups. I am your host, Monk, aka the Monkmatician, and in this very episode, we're going to be breaking down 3 fights to go over a little bit of Salary Voodoo here. It should take about 15 minutes or so. So yeah, let's get right into it, guys. First fight of the night that we are choosing comes from my intrepid co-host of the Monk and Lou Happy Hour, coming to you every Friday right here on this channel, MMA Engine, at 6 p.m. Central Time. 5 p.m. Central Time, 6 Eastern on Friday. Lou Betya, at Lou Betya on Twitter, picked, let's see, Paul Craig and Nikita Krylov. Let's see here. Paul Craig, $7,500 salary. A couple of basic stats. Scores 2.8 points per minute, 95.16 points when he wins. 7-4-1 in the UFC. Nikita Krylov, $8,700. Scores 4.04 points per win. 4th highest on the card. 111.79 points per win. He is 8-6 in the UFC. Let's get into some salary voodoo. Paul Craig. The 70, actually, we should start out the light heavyweight weight class rather. Someone from that weight class makes the optimal lineup 44.9% of the time that they fight. That is the worst probability for all weight classes. 12th highest. Actually, it's second worst because I do count catch weight. So 44.9% for the light heavyweight division. No bueno. 45.10% of the time, the 5th fight of the night makes the optimal lineup. 45.10. That is the 9th worst. Actually 9th best. So sixth worst fight order as far as probability goes. Number 5 fight. So not off to a good start here, Lou. The $7,500 salary wins 27.66% of the time, and it makes the optimal overall 12.77% of the time. But when it wins, it makes the optimal 46.15% of the time. That is just below 50%. And the salary, let's see, $8,700. Actually, no, not yet. Paul Craig, the $7,500 salary, its average score for that salary, 90.29. That is the 3rd worst score on average for any salary that exists. So not a good salary, 7,500 at all, especially when you pair it with the light heavyweight and the fact that it's the 5th fight of the night. Not looking forward to this one at all, Lou, the Paul Craig side. I know what you're thinking. Don't yell at me on Friday. Nikita Krylov, $8,700. Let's see, we already went over the weight class and the 5th fight of the night, how those are both under 45% or right at 45%. The $8,700 salary makes the optimal 28.89% of the time it's played. It has a winning percentage of 73.33%, and it makes the optimal in 36.36% of those wins. So not a great number, but it is pretty expensive. So you do, you don't expect that to be super high. Let's see, the average score for the $8,700 salary, 92.14, so less than 2 points more than its counterpart, 7,500. Also not a good score at all. 25th best out of 30 salaries, you guys. So what's that, 6th worst out of all salaries? The $7,500 and $8,700 salary pair, when played together, the winner makes the optimal lineup in just 41.3% of those wins. Guys, that is 12th best out of 15 salary pairs. Not a good number. So I'm sorry, Lou, at Lou Betya, give him a follow on Twitter. The Paul Craig, Nikita Krylov, from salary voodoo point of view, is hexed. I cannot bless this fight. It is a hex fight. That said, I will be playing a ton of probably both sides of it. I do think it finishes inside the distance. So personally, I'm not going to be listening to much of the salary voodoo this week, but the salary voodoo says this fight is hexed. So I'm just saying, not a good look, man. Not a good look. You should have picked a different fight, Lou. That's all I'm saying. Just kidding, bud. Topuria and Jai Herbert is the fight that my girlfriend randomly pointed to on the fight card and said this one. So I am breaking down Topuria, Jai Herbert. Some basic stats. Topuria 3-0 in the UFC, 3.58 points per minute, 96 points in his win. Jai Herbert 1-2 in the UFC, 2.21 points per minute. But when he did get a win, 109.95 points. That is pretty good. Let's see here. The lightweight weight class. That is the weight class this fight is taking place. The lightweight weight class makes the optimal lineup 49.33% of the time it is used. That is 9th best out of 13 weight classes. So, because I do include catch weight, as I said. So, not a good number there. The 8th fight of the night, just under 50%. 50.98% of the time, someone from the 8th fight makes the optimal lineup. That is 6th best out of all fights, which it goes up to 15, just for the record. That's the most fights we've ever gotten on a UFC card, at least since 2021. Let's see. The $9,300 salary makes the optimal lineup straight up 23.68% of the time. It has a win percentage of just 68.42%. For such a high salary, that is a very low win percentage. But in those wins, it makes the optimal 34.62% of the time. So not a great number, but not too bad either, especially for such a high salary. Let's see here. The average score for $9,300, you get 97.41. That is the 13th best out of all 15 salaries. Herbert, $6,900. 22.5% of the time that salary makes the optimal lineup. That is 1.18% less than the $9,300 salary. So that is interesting. It has a win percentage of 30%. Guys, this is a very low salary. $6,900, 30% win percentage. And in those wins, it makes the optimal lineup 66.67% of the time. That's the 4th highest number in that category. So 2/3, 2 out of 3 times the $6,900 salary wins, it makes the optimal lineup. That is insane. But, if you think about it, it makes a lot of sense. And when the $6,900 salary wins, it scores 100.64 points. We are in triple digits here. So not only is it winning, it is winning and scoring big. The salary pair of $9,300 and $6,900, someone from that salary makes the optimal lineup in wins 47.37% of the time. Not a good salary pair there. I do like it individually, though, and especially that dog salary, $6,900, 30% win salary. That is crazy. Now, this week, I am heavy on the Topuria side. I don't think Herbert stands much of a chance at all. But to my girlfriend, I say the $9,300 and $6,900 salary pair, the salary fight is blessed, but just barely, and mostly because of the $9,300 side. It is doing a lot of the heavy lifting. But as we said, when the $6,900 salary wins 30% of the time, 2/3 of that time, it makes the optimal lineup. Those are absolutely insane numbers, you guys. We are cooking. This might be a 10-minute video here. Last fight of the night. Special shout out to Mr. Drail on YouTube. My guy commented on last week's Salary Voodoo. He said he wanted to see the Jack Shore and Timur Valiev fight broken down from a Salary Voodoo perspective. So, Mr. Drail, I've got your back. You are the 3rd fight of the night, 3rd and last fight of the week this week for Salary Voodoo. Jack Shore, perfect 4-0 in the UFC, scores 4.3 points a minute. That's the 3rd highest number on the card. 97.86 points when he wins. I mean, really good numbers from Shore here. He's scoring from everywhere. His takedown points a minute, his control time points a minute are outstanding. Timur Valiev on the other side, 2-0 in the UFC, 1 fight, no contest. Let's see, 3.86 points a minute. That is 7th best on the card. 83.22 points a win. That is very, very low. Let's see here. This one is taking place at bantamweight, Mr. Drail. Let's see, what do we have? 51.35% of the time a bantamweight fight is happening. Someone from that weight class makes the optimal lineup 53.35% of the time. Let's see here. The 4th fight of the night, a very good fight to target as well. You picked a good one. 60.78% of the time, someone from this fight makes the optimal lineup. 60.78. That is the 3rd best fight as far as fight order goes. Now let's get into some salaries. We'll start with Jack Shore. Why not? 24% of the time, the $7,600 salary has been, or makes the optimal lineup, I should say. That is 12 times it's made the optimal since 2021. It has a win rate of 30%, so that is pretty low. It's the exact same as the $6,900 salary we just discussed. So, I mean, we're $700 away, and it's got the exact same win percent. Not a good look. But when it does win, 60% optimal. That is a fantastic number, especially for something that's not too cheap, but not too expensive either. 60% in wins. Check this out. When the $7,600 salary wins, it scores 107.73 points. Guys, that's the third highest average salary or average score by salary out of all 30 salaries. The third highest, 107.73. Fantastic for an underdog salary. Timur Valiev. Let's see what the $8,600 salary has to offer. Let's see. It has made the optimal lineup 19 times. That is the most out of any salary. 19 times. It's one of my favorite to play, for the record. It makes the optimal straight up 38.78% of the time it's played. So just under 39%. 8,600 makes the optimal lineup. It has a 71.43% win rate. Guys, that is huge. It's the fourth best win rate on the entire card. 71.43. And in those wins, the $8,600 salary makes the optimal lineup 54.29% of the time. Can you imagine? I mean, this is a fantastic number for a favorite salary. You know, it is, anything above 8,100 is considered a favorite salary. So 54% of the time it wins. Being that expensive, it makes the optimal. Fantastic salary to play. Scores more than 10 points less per win than the $7,600 salary, though, coming in at 97.09. That is 10 points less than the $7,600 salary. That is just crazy. The salary pair of 76 and 86, the third best salary pair to play. 62% of the time it wins. It makes the optimal. Guys, you absolutely have to play this fight. So, Mr. Drail, you picked an absolutely fantastic fight for Salary Voodoo. I consider this fight blessed. The Voodoo is fantastic in this one. You must play. Personally, I'm going to have a lot more Jack Shore than Timur Valiev. I think we're getting an incredible value, an incredible deal on Jack Shore. So I will definitely be rostering more of him. I will, of course, still have Valiev because $8,600 is an absolutely fantastic salary to play, no matter who. I shouldn't say that. Almost no matter who has the salary that week. So, guys, that's going to do it. To recap, at Lou Betya picked Craig and Krylov. That fight is a hexed fight from a Salary Voodoo perspective. My girlfriend picked Topuria and Herbert. That is a blessed fight from a Salary Voodoo perspective, was just barely, and I'm clearly on the 9,300 side there. And then Mr. Drail, Jack Shore, and Timur Valiev, more than blessed fight. The $76 and $8,600 salary is absolutely fantastic to play. So please, Mr. Drail, play that side. And thanks again for commenting and telling me who you want to see broken down from week to week. So guys, take that as a hint. Get on here. Very simple. Like the video, subscribe to MMA Engine, and leave a comment about who you want to see me cover next week. We got one more week of fights after this London card before we have a week off. So be sure to get your fight in the comments if you want to hear me break down some Salary Voodoo about it, give you some crazy numbers with the weight classes, with the fight order, all that stuff. Get you all the information you need to make some good choices when building lineups. So that's what I'm here for. And guys, we're going to wrap up there. As always, I want all of you to enjoy the fights. So, enjoy. We'll see you next time. Have a good one.